Hello and welcome to Go Ballistic, the Scottish Sun's Euro 2024 programme. Now, what a day, what a weekend we're having. I'm Roger Hanna, this is my colleague David Friel. Not only is Alan Shearer in meltdown because of England's performance, but Scotland could get to the last 16 before England. It can't get much better than this, David, can it?
It can't. And we spoke about it the other day, Roger, but I think if Scotland do get to the last 16, I'm going to get the face painted.
Listen, I think it's only a matter of time. I'm quite happy to do it. We'll maybe even get it sponsored by someone up here. This is going to be Scotland's weekend, isn't it? There's no negative Normans. We're all positive, whatevers. We're going to beat Hungary on Sunday, David. Yeah?
I was positive the other day. I'm positive again. I thought the performance was excellent against a good Switzerland team. Boys had a job to do. They did it. Great start. Could have won it at the end. Switzerland also had chances, but overall I think a point was a good result. And now it's do or die stuff, Hungary. But if you'd have said, Roger, right back at when we qualified, before the draw, that Scotland would play Hungary, knowing that a win would make history, taking it to the last 16, you would have taken that, surely.
You saw the interviews yesterday with Jack Henry. Once the squad came out of Cologne, came back to Garmisch-Partenkirchen, you could almost detect a weight taken off his shoulders and the shoulders of Steve Clarke and the rest of the squad.
Yeah, and it's understandable because players are human as well. They would probably be shielded from some extent, to some extent from the criticism and scrutiny, but they know what's going on. They'll be getting messages back home, they'll be speaking to family. They will understand. And to be honest with you, they were pretty forthright in their, the reaction to their own performance. They basically pulled no punches. They said they felt as if they let themselves down, they let the country down. And it wasn't a good day, but it's all about reaction, and I think Scotland showed a great reaction Wednesday night, and they've put themselves in such a great position to now go and qualify.
There is history awaiting them in Stuttgart on Sunday night. They could become the first ever Scotland team to progress beyond a group stage at a major tournament. Will that weigh them down in any way when they get to Stuttgart?
I hope not, and I don't think it will. As I said, this isn't a game against a team, and in all due respect to Hungary, who are a good side. I actually expected a wee bit more from them in the tournament so far, but this isn't, you're not going in against an Italy or a Spain or a Germany or something like that. This is a winnable game. These guys have worked so hard since Steve Clarke came in. It's 5 years, they've taken Scotland to 2 major finals now. This is the next step. And as I said, this scenario would have been accepted right at the start. I just hope the team, the manager, everybody is positive, goes for the win, because if we don't go for the win and we try and be cautious, I worry that we don't get it.
What does that involve then, going for a win? Because it's not necessarily Steve Clarke's forte to set up a team to go and charge at Hungarians and win. Is it a 3 at the back? Is it 4 at the back? Does Christie come in? Is it Shanklin instead of Adams?
No, I would probably make a couple of changes. I would dismantle the back 5 thing. I think it's only there because of Kieran Tierney and Andy Robertson, and understanding it's worked. You want the 2 of them in the team, it's a way to shoehorn the 2 of them into the team. I don't think we need it now. I think everybody would be far more comfortable playing the back 4. I think the personnel, Andy Robertson, it'll probably be Tony Ralston again. I would actually go with Scott McKenna and Grant Hanley, purely for the physical presence and a bit of pace. I think Scott McKenna's done really well coming in. I would then play Gilmour and McGregor in front of them. I would play McGinn, McTominay. I'd play Che Adams up front, and my 11th player would be James Forrest. I just feel James Forrest in this game. I think we really need to take the game. I'm not one who thinks stay in the game and then go have a go in the last 70 minutes, last 20 minutes. Sorry, I would just go from the start. I would rather go from the start, get a lead, and make Hungary desperate. Hungary need to win this game 3 or 4-0 to have any chance of going through. Their goal difference just now is -4. So they really need to get to 0.
Does that fact help us as well? Because they have no option but to be a bit gung-ho coming into the game. Could that open the game up for Scotland?
Yeah, it could. Of course it could. Because Hungary are desperate. Hungary have no option. Scotland probably do have the option of being a little bit cautious. I wouldn't be, but Steve Clarke, you don't have to go gung-ho right at the start. You just need to win. Anyone will do. Hungary need to win by goal. So Hungary are going to have to be pretty cavalier. I think you meet fire with fire. I think you just go for it. And I think James Forrest, we saw the way he finished the season. I think he would give Scotland something different. I think he links well with Andy Robertson on that side. He knows Tony Ralston from Celtic, if you're going to play him on the right side. To me, it would just give Scotland another dimension. I think it's also a game where Lawrence Shanklin will play a part. I would probably stick with Che Adams. I thought he was really good the other night. He had 1 chance at the back post, but I thought in terms of his general work rate, his hold-up play, everything, I thought he was good. I still think he's a better man to start for maybe the first hour. I think Shanklin will come on in the game, but for me, I have to be positive. Let's go for it.
It's a huge weekend for Scotland. It's a huge weekend for Sunsport. I will be here 24/7. I'll be painting David's face. And just to let Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer and Micah Richards know if they need a bit of reassurance or even just a wee hug, I'm here.
We can head to our Sunsport bookie basher, Jim Delahunt. Now, Jim, we had you on last week before a ball was kicked. You tipped Harry Kane for top scorer. You tipped England to win it. Come on, justify yourself. Come on.
Yeah, I'm struggling to justify that, Roger, after the last couple of performances. I know they won their first game and got a draw last night, but they've been very disappointing, haven't they? But what I will say in my defence, Roger, is I didn't like the price. I didn't like the price of 7-2. Yeah. And after those two performances, England have drifted out. They're no longer favourites to win this tournament. They're now out to 9-2 third favourites, and that's behind, if I just check my notes here, France and Germany, who are now the 4-1 joint favourites. But the thing that amazes me, Roger, especially if anybody listening or watching has seen the Spain game last night, Spain are still 11-2 to win this tournament. And I have to confess, although I didn't take England at 7-2, I've had a small bet on Spain this morning at 11-2, and that's certainly looking the value at this very point in time.
The thing with the Spanish as well, Jim, is they've beaten two quality teams. You know, they put away a good Croatia side 3-0. They beat Italy. I know it was 1-0, but they were reasonably comfortable last night, even with the own goal. They have looked good.
They have looked good, Roger, and I think that's what people watching the game so far, I can't think of any other team you'd have been more impressed by. I know the Germans have been methodical and they've got their couple of wins in the bag, but you can't think of another team in this tournament so far, barring France maybe, that have been more impressive than Spain. They really have been impressive. I've liked the way they've gone about their business. They've got flair players all over the park. And as I say, just this morning, I thought 11-2, I'm going to have some of that.
I know you and I watched that Germany-Scotland game from behind the couch last week once it got to about 3-0. But do you think a lot of that money has gone on the Germans off the back of that impressive opening fixture?
It would appear to have done, Roger, and also the fact that they've got the home advantage. I mean, we all said that before the tournament, but the fact that they've got this home advantage, they supposedly have a reasonably good line to the final. We'll see if that works out exactly as the bookies have predicted. But I can see why they're joint favourites, but I don't know. We'll just see how this progresses. They've done okay so far, Germany, and I think we have to be honest, they beat a very poor Scotland side. A Scotland side, incidentally, which we all know improved to get the 1 point against Switzerland. And if we are going to talk about the next game, then suddenly I'm interested in having a bet on Scotland.
And before we touch on Scotland, France, you mentioned joint favourites. Is this injury to Kylian Mbappe, does that sort of cloud the betting for an overall winner, but also cloud the betting for a top scorer in the tournament?
Well, if what we're hearing is correct, Roger, and he is going to miss these qualifying games and bring him back for what they class to be the important games, that could rule out a couple of goals for Mbappe. Now, the pre-tournament talk of Harry Kane being top scorer now looks a bit flaccid, shall we say? So we're going to have to see how that market pans out. But Mbappe, I don't know. Maybe it's the Scotsman in me, but should he not just be playing with a broken nose? I mean, I don't quite understand why he has to sit out with a broken nose.
We go back to the days of Gordon McQueen, Joe Jordan and Jim Hope. They would just have got on with it. Now, speaking of Scotland greats, this team can become legends on Sunday. They can be the first team to get beyond the group phase at a major tournament. What's the betting like? Are they getting a bit of support for a win on Sunday?
Funnily enough, Roger, we are not favourites to win that game. Hungary are 29-20 favourites. Now that's translated to just under 6-4. The draw is 14-5. Scotland 8-5. That's 1.6 to 1. So surprisingly, I did think we would be favourites to win this game off the back of the other night. But Hungary are favourites because they can still get 3 points in this group. But Scotland 8-5. The goal scoring prices are interesting because we all think, unless you're going to contradict me, Roger, we all think Lawrence Shankland is going to start. He is 9-4 to score at any time in the match. McTominay, who of course has now been credited with that goal the other night, he is 3-1 to score at any time in this match on Sunday. John McGinn at 100-30. James E. Forrest, would he come into the equation? I don't know. He's available at 9-2 to score any time. And of course, if Andy Robertson was to be captain fantastic, then he's available at 11-1 to notch a goal in this game. But I'll tell you something, Roger, I didn't back Scotland to win that game the other night, but I did back them to score a goal because I thought a goal would come. They were 23-20 to score a goal the other night. I had a small bet on that, but on Sunday, I'm actually going to have a little bet on them to win the match.
And here's my anorak statistic for you, Jim. Every goal Scotland have ever scored at a Euros has been scored by a player called Mick. You've got McClair, McStay, McAllister in 92, McCoist at 96, McGregor at 2020, and McTominay at 2024. I'm going to go a bit either McGinn or McKenna.
Yeah, McGinn or McKenna or McTominay, of course. He could get another one, Roger. It's an absolutely amazing statistic, that. And I hope that one of the Macs gets us a goal on Sunday against the Hungarians, the magical Magyars.
It was only that own goal by Antonio McRudiger. I can't even say it, Jim. It spoiled my start. Anyway, I'm looking forward to some of those odds. You have a great weekend at air, and we will speak to you soon and Go Ballistic. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you very much, Roger.
Just 2 days to go, of course, before the big showdown with Hungary. We can now go over to Garmisch-Partenkirchen, where Scotland are based, and join the voice of Sunsport, Bill Leckie. Bill, looks a lovely morning in southern Germany today.
Yeah, Guten and furthermore, Morgan. It's beautiful today. When we came back last night from Cologne, it was bouncing off the streets, as it tends to do every couple of days here. But today it's gorgeous, a little breeze, sun's out, people are all out wandering about the streets. It's I can't even tell what day it is. I've kind of lost track of. Well, Friday-ish, yeah. But it's beautiful. It's lovely here. But it's amazing that suddenly it's crept up on us that tomorrow, depending on what happens, we could be leaving this little town for good, along with the Scotland squad, depending on what happens on Sunday.
Now, Steve Black said after that draw with the Swiss, he was bringing the players back to Garmisch. He wanted to put them in the river for its restorative quality, just glacial melt that comes down from the Alps. I was determined you and Robert Grieve were going to go into the water, sample it for Sunsport. But Jack Henry was saying yesterday, it's a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, it's a little bit. If you actually saw there's a bridge about 100 metres to my right here, and if you saw the water there, the speed of it after the rain they've had in Bavaria in the last few weeks, and the colour of it, you know, it's a kind of Nesquik brown at the moment, you know, and it's running faster than some wingers can move. So yeah, I'm very pleased that you kind of you let that idea of me getting the trunks out go.
Yeah, I think that was the popular demand. We kept you out of the
well, that's just not least by me.
Simply back to the jacuzzi for yourself and Robert Grieve.
Absolutely, we have a double jacuzzi on the terrace of our suite.
That's what I like to hear. Going back to the football, what chance on Sunday night?
Certainly 50-50. You know, I think if we were playing Hungary in a Nations League or a qualifying tie, you'd say at Hampden, yeah, we'll beat them. Over there, it's going to be a toil. So in between here, I mean, they've lost both games without playing badly, Hungary. You know, they're a decent side with decent players. I don't think there's much of a sweetie paper between the two of us. And I think it depends on how we show up in the night. If we have the same attitude and desire and we get up the park the way we did against Switzerland, we've got a great chance. If we set off against Germany, you know, it's not rocket science, is it?
What it must not be, of course, is a repeat of a tournament. You covered France 98, you lose the first game, the opening fixture, you then get a creditable draw against European opposition in the second fixture. Of course, France 98, all went wrong against Morocco. Couldn't countenance that.
No, we couldn't. I mean, suddenly you're down to 10 men, you're a couple of goals down, you're chasing the game, and that was. But then we are littered, and it, you know, I'm like, I sort of like to think about what goes on in people's heads. If we think about the number of times that we've blown it in the last game of big tournaments, and we say that's the way Scotland do things, then there's every chance that's the way Scotland do things. Yeah. But these players aren't connected to any of those things. They're not connected to 98 or to Uruguay in 86 or to Miller and Hansen running into each other in 1982. They're not connected with any of these things. And I hope they get in with a very fresh attitude that says, we want to do this for us, not to change history. They can make history. You can't change history.
Bill, that's great. We'll try and speak to you on match day on Sunday. I'll let you back to the jacuzzi and we'll let you go before this picture widens out and our viewers see you do indeed have the Speedos on.
The budgies.
We can head now to Garmisch-Partenkirchen to our chief football writer, Robert Grieve. Robert, I know you're heading down to see the squad later to speak to the Scotland assistant manager, John Carver. Is it a better mood in Garmisch between the Swiss and Hungarian games than it was between the Germany and Swiss games?
I don't think there's any doubt about that, Roger. I think the performance and the result that the lads got against the Swiss the other night has given everyone a boost. We're talking to Jack Henry yesterday, the interview in the paper this morning, and across all the channels. He was really, really kind of lifted by that performance and what it's done to the group. So I don't doubt whatsoever that the lads, Steve Clark, John Carver, who you say we're speaking to later, will be boosted by that, because the team did everything asked of them. As I wrote in my copy, it could have been worse, it could have been better, but the one thing that we got was a performance that the team competed, and that's all we really asked for.
It's going to be a fantastic game at Stuttgart on Sunday night against Hungary. Still no Ryan Porteous with the suspension, no Kieran Tierney now either, Robert. Does he just put Scott McKenna into a back three, or is there an argument for going to a four when he doesn't have to take Tierney and Andy Robertson in the same team?
Yeah, well, I was talking to Bill Leckie about that yesterday. He's got a suspicion they might go to a four because of those very reasons, but I don't know. I'm inclined to think they might stick with the three. I think Scott McKenna, since when he's come into the two previous games, has done really well. He contributed to the goal that we scored against Germany. Defensively, he was put under real pressure, but I thought he coped okay. And then in the game the other night, I thought he was terrific when he came on. He doesn't give you the same attacking outlet that Kieran Tierney does, clearly. It's going to be a huge loss that he's going to be out of the team. But I think McKenna is a good replacement. I think he can get forward. I think he's decent with the ball at his feet. But one thing he does bring also is a real aerial threat, which could be kind of a huge part of the game. You know, if we could get into set piece situations like we did against the Swiss, and I don't think we used those situations well enough. I don't think our delivery was very good in moments. But if we can get that right, Scott McKenna's a big threat in the opposition box, and obviously in our own box as well. So it wouldn't be surprised me if Steve Clark just sticks with that system, sticks with Scott McKenna.
A lot of focus is fallen on Tony Ralston after he gave the ball away to Xherdan Shaqiri for that Swiss equaliser. I thought he recovered very well during the game. There's no hint that he won't play against Hungary, is there, Robert?
No, I don't think so. Again, there's been a bit of chat that potentially Steve Clark could go a little bit more attack-minded, maybe play James Forrest there or swap with Ross McCrory. But I think, listen, everyone knows Tony Ralston hasn't played very much football with Celtic. That he's come to this tournament having had a difficult few months where he just wasn't playing enough football. But you have to credit the boy. You know, he's been thrown in there. He made a bad mistake against the Swiss. Everyone knows that. He don't really know what he's thinking. He played a blind pass. But listen, 9 times out of 10 that ball wouldn't have ended up in the back of the net. You know, it ended up there because it was a world-class finish from a world-class player. He was punished severely for it. But and as you say, in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I thought he looked like a kind of rabbit in the headlights. He looked terrified. But you have to credit him. He dug down the second half. I thought he was decent. He always wanted the ball. I was watching him. He was always looking for the ball. So I think we have to give Tony Ralston a good bit of credit for the way he came through that situation, because talking to Jack Henry yesterday, and I asked him, like, what's it like? I mean, we criticise and we look at these players, but everyone was watching them, everyone was looking. It's a huge game. It must be really difficult to have made a mistake like that and then try and play through it. And I thought he did that to a certain extent. So no, actually, it wouldn't surprise me a whole lot if Steve Clark sticks with him for the game against the Hungarians.
Robert, it's looking a bit windy there in the background. I'll let you go. I know it's heading for lunchtime in Germany. You'll want to get some. I know everyone here has marvelled at your coffee and cake interviews with colleague Bill Leckie. I know some others have been drinking beers over there. We take it seriously at Sun Sport. Enjoy your coffee and cake. Thanks again.
Thanks, Roger.
Once again, thanks for watching and listening to Go Ballistic. We're having a day off tomorrow, but we will be back on Sunday, match day, ahead of Scotland versus Hungary. If you've enjoyed the show or any of our Go Ballistic editions right through Euro 2024, don't forget you can subscribe on the Scottish Sun Sport YouTube channel. You won't be disappointed. Let's hope we're not disappointed in Stuttgart on Sunday. Thanks again.